Greetings, this is Silent James, and have I got a gift for all of you. I'm going to be sharing the time-lapse videos of me drawing and painting pages from my new zine, Silent-Delic. Bam! The cover! I always do the cover last if I'm ever working on any book projects. I spent over a year doing the artwork for this zine. Are you the same person you were over a year ago? I mean, I recognize the bow tie, the suspenders. The rubber hairpiece is still holding on for dear life. Hasn't fallen off yet. Yeah, all these reasons are why I do the cover at the end. It might be obvious to you, but I'm a huge fan of old school manga and old school anime. That is what is inspiring to me. You know, like human-made artwork. I am sick of hearing about AI and AI art. I don't connect with it. It means nothing to me. I get no inspiration from it. This is what inspires me. Human-made art, made by hand, using, non-digital tools. This is the kind of stuff that I love. I hope there's some of you out there that still appreciate that type of thing. I'm holding a G pen, which is a dip pen that mangaka use, the comic artists in Japan. It's what I use to draw pretty much everything in this book. I'm feeling where my vein is, where the pulse is, the human heart, the human blood, the human burning passion, the desire to make this, to make artwork and to share, to express myself. This is what this is all about. I made it in shades of red because as blood leaves the body, it turns red. This is my blood leaving my body. This is everything I am is in this book. So that's the point of this cover. That's the point of this book. And now I'm going to share the time-lapse video. So I start off by doing a gradient, and the way I do that is put down the water first, and then I just put the colors I want to bleed into each other down and let them do their thing. And then the way I do the ink drawings is I work on a light pad and I put down the sketch and then put the watercolor paper over it, and I draw the ink lines directly on the watercolor paper. Dipping my G pen into India ink, that's how I make all these lines. And the reason I work that way is because the watercolor paper is expensive and I don't want to be ruining it by doing a lot of sketching and erasing. I'm drawing the title in a regular pen here, and that's because I knew I was going to be putting black around the letters, and there's no point in using a dip pen because you wouldn't see any of those line variations. It would just be a waste. And then for any type of black ink work, I use synthetic brushes. That way, I don't ruin the tips and the bristles. For watercolor, I use sable hair, like the real hair brushes for that. And also I use a hair dryer occasionally to dry things as I go. And yeah, putting down the colors, I try to work from light to dark. The most opaque I put on at the end. And that's because, to go over a lighter color with a darker color, a darker shade, is easier than to do the opposite. It'll mess up your lighter colors if you go next to a darker color and it bleeds in. So yeah, now I'm using a dry brush technique. Basically, you put ink on your brush, you wipe it off until there's hardly anything left on it, and then you rub the bristles around on the paper, and that creates that nice sort of rough effect. You want to, again, make sure you're using cheap synthetic brushes because that will ruin the tips. Sometimes when I put the watercolor down, if it goes on too opaque and I lose some of my line work, I will redraw the lines over it. I try not to do that as much as possible, but sometimes I do. And there I put a shine on the pen nib. There's this one of my favorite artists, Bill Sienkiewicz. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. He does a lot of those shines, and I just love it. So you'll look, and when you'll see it in my book, I do a lot of like ding, and yeah, just going over it, refining certain things. This came out exactly how I wanted. I absolutely love this cover. It says everything I wanted to say, and yeah. So thank you all. I hope you enjoyed some of these insights, and you can buy the book on Amazon right now. Thank you. Ta-ta.